All right, good morning, folks. Welcome in. It's House Edge Live. It's John from Casino Gaming Central. I'm still having trouble saying that. I was actually hanging out with Tenton last night, and he's like, "Man, I can't get through my head that you're not Pro Craps anymore. You know, the channel." And we were kind of joking about it. That's still, I think I'll always be known by that. And that channel, um, because it was all craps. That was the name. Right now, I got some weird artifact here in my lights. With the new channel though, with this name here, I can do other things, and that was the whole point, was to be able to talk blackjack and talk roulette and give some other examples of stuff. So anyway, that's the reason for the switch, and it's still kind of weird for me too. Anyway, good morning, happy Monday, and welcome in. So we're actually in the middle of finishing up. We're in the middle of a series now that I started last week. Because of a question that was asked of me by Joe from Craftsmaster Journey, and I want to kind of get through that, the second part of it this week, and then we'll hopefully finish things up again next week. So anyway, a couple news or update items. One, Brownwater Bash. I haven't heard from anybody yet that's there. I know that we have Leon there, we have Jen there from our group of people anyway. And of course Ed's there, right? Jeff and some of the guys. Looking for some reports. I'm sure they'll put a nice report out when it's all said and done. They had 100 people down there from what I heard, which is fantastic. And you think about this, really, if the Brownwater Bash can bring 100 people in, right, to go hang out with Ed for a few days. If Jeremy from Color Up can bring 150 people here to Vegas, which he will in the middle of June for the Color Up DiceCon, think about that. We don't bring a lot of people to our fundraiser, but we have a lot of people that watch it, right? The fundraiser is always very successful. I'm just astounded by the amount of camaraderie, love, and all that stuff that the Craps folks have. We really do come together, and it's very cool to see like the Brownwater Bash doing such a big thing. The AC group is like 35 people or something like this. Crazy. Our little group in Washington has, I don't know what Ian will tell you in chat. We've got, I don't know, 2 different chats going, and there's like 30 or 40 people. It's unbelievable. So it's all really cool that this group comes together the way that it does. And I was talking to David yesterday about the app, the Nexus app that we're building. And we were having this conversation, like, what do we do next? Like, we've got blackjack and roulette. Actually, it's being released today, tomorrow. Craps game is almost done, but we were doing craps twice. We're doing craps that basically feels like bubble craps, and a craps game that feels like a real table. And I'm like, do we do them both at the same time? Do we do the bubble craps version first, then the other craps? Like, what's the order in which we do it? And it's funny because if you think about roulette, #1 game. Well, kind of. Roulette is the #1 game. There's so many people that play roulette, especially online. The real #1 game is Baccarat, which we are going to build last. But craps is probably the least overall popular game. If you think about blackjack, roulette, Baccarat, and our little game of craps over here. But who's the hungriest group? It's the craps group. The craps group is the hungriest, most like vehement, give me some more, give me some more, give me some more kind of a group that we have of all of them. Roulette could challenge that, I suppose, but it's amazing. So yeah, we're going to go out with it right away. We probably should have done it first, I guess, but it's just interesting to me how this community is so just locked in, man. So anyway, good on y'all. I'm happy to be part of it at all. So Badger Barons and Lower Queen Anne. Wow. Have not been in Queen Anne in forever. I mean, want to hear a funny story, actually? The very first day I got to Seattle, this is great, Badger Baron. But the first day I got to Seattle, the second night actually. So I this is going back to like 1992, no, 1991, and I drove across country. I get to Seattle in my little, whatever car I had at the time. Anyway, we get there. We find a place to stay, like a little hotel, while I'm looking for an apartment. We get in a hotel, look for an apartment, and it happened to be St. Patrick's Day. We got there on like the 16th, right, the next day. So anyway, we decide to go out to a bar, right? Like we look for apartments all day long, go out to a bar, some Irish pub at the very base of Queen Anne Hill. And if you're there, when you come down Queen Anne Hill on 2nd Avenue, you'll know the Irish pub I'm talking about. We get in there and having a couple of beers, and I didn't realize it was it was St. Patty's Day because we had driven for 3 days across country. I lost track of time. Anyway, they're doing the whole Irish, clap thing and the dancing and blah blah blah, the clog dancing thing. Well, everybody gets up and they're up on their chairs, up on the tables, and they're going absolutely bonkers, right? And this guy starts doing his Irish dance, and I'm like, that's pretty cool, whatever he's doing the thing. It's Michael Flatley. He happened to be there that day doing some other show in town, and he was in this little pub doing the Irish dance thing, and I got to see it from like 4 feet away. Now I realized it afterwards what happened, but it was that cool. Getting to see like a free Michael Flatley show, and it was like 20 people. It was awesome. Anyway, weird story, but let's get in and talk about some gambling, shall we? The first thing I want to talk about with you is our normal sort of beginning, which is oh, actually, what we're gonna do? We'll talk about Joe's thing. I guess we'll talk about Joe's thing first. This is really the reason why we're here today. Joe from Craftsmaster had asked this question last week to me. And he's like, when do you pull the trigger? And he was really talking about, again, his example to me was the horseman. When do you dump your current strategy and jump in to take advantage of a roll, right? And I know Joe does, like me, plays a lot of headless horseman, which I'll show you the horseman here as an example in a second. And he wants to know, when do you jump in? How do you get over the fear of not knowing the roll is going to be 7 on the next roll or 25 rolls later? Okay, getting over being stubborn, right, or having this FOMO, fear of missing out attitude. And I'm glad that Waylon's here. Okay, Waylon, congratulations, by the way, awesome job, right? Let's talk about this together, you and me, right now. I want your answer in chat, Mr. Stagner. Here we go. Joe's asking about sticking to the strategy or jumping out of it and leading into some hot ass roll. Okay. I think I know what you're going to say. And I'll tell you what I'm going to say is this. Sometimes you dance with the one who brung you. And if you're going to play a strategy, whether it's the Arnold or the world's greatest strategy or the retirement, whatever you're going to play, that thing is doing its job, right? And its job, especially like in the retirement plan, is not to play. Its job is to get your money out and stop playing. And you can't let fear of missing out cloud your judgment. That's an important piece of it. And I think, Waylon, you might agree with me on this. If you're playing a certain way, play a certain way. If you're playing a certain way to today's topic so that you can jump into something else, that's your decision point. Some strategies just don't have a decision point. You're going to play and grind it out and make a buck here, buck here, buck here until you're done. And you just let the noise be noise. So the answer to the question, sometimes you never pull the trigger. And sometimes it's by design, and that's got to be okay. If you're playing in a way to set you up to pull the trigger, a whole different story. And that's what I'm going to focus on today. And we're really going to look about today and tomorrow more about the when. When do you take a look at the next thing, right? So we're working through the ABCs of gambling here, and this 3-step plan that I've kind of laid this out for you, I think a number of times now. The 3-step plan is actually kind of simple, right? It's I use the baseball, get them on, get them over, get them in, which means get your money back. It means make a little bit of profit and then make a decision, right? And the make a decision piece is sort of going to be mostly next week, but I want to cover it a little bit today. So we're going to review what that 3-step plan is, and today specifically, we jump into the ABCs of gambling. I really want to show you kind of in detail where I think that lands. Okay, so we're going to look today at this idea of pulling a little bit of profit and making sure that you're, quote unquote, in a good place before we move on. So with that said, we've kind of introed it here. It's this 3-phase of get them on, get them over, get them in. Again, I use a baseball analogy. Baseball is, get a guy on base, get him over to second or third, find a way to get him home, right? When I coached baseball, we coached a lot of small ball, that kind of play. And my intention was always to get about a run an inning. I wanted to average 1 run an inning. We played 7-inning games back then. So you'd have, I looked at it like we walked on the field, and I told my team this, with a 7-0 lead. That's how I looked at it. And if I look at the game of, let's say, craps today, and I got 8 people at the table, including myself, and the dice are all the way at the end, I'm looking at it like I've got whatever my strategy wins. If my strategy wins me $25, I'm looking at it like I got $175 lead on the house because I'm going to pull that money off every single person. That's how I look at it. And then through that process, I can decide to make more or try to make more or decide that that's good enough for me. And the good enough for me is the part where I think people struggle at that point, right? So with that said, let's hop on in and really think about what it means to do the second piece, which is locking up profit. And I think this is the hardest part, believe it or not, for a lot of people. The first part largely is luck, right? Getting your money back is largely luck. You've got a good way to play, we hope, right? We like the ways that we play. Whether it's a ladder, whether it's a right side only, whether it's a dark side play, we like the way that we play. We design the way that we play in such a way as to make us a little bit of money, get money back off the table, and really get us out, right? Get us to where we're even. Number one goal is get even. Even if you're making a 1 unit bet and that wins, you're even. That's step one, get your money back. Then we look at getting a little bit of money stocked away. It doesn't matter if it's $1, if it's $1, $5, 1,000. It doesn't matter what it is. The next move that you make is to lock it up. And I want to focus on that today, the locking up part of it. And then again, next week, we'll talk about the decisions and when we can go. So Skill says the answer is bankroll. We're going to talk exactly about this today. If you're ahead, you have flexibility. However, the plan is the plan. Be smart and be disciplined. We're going to talk today about the bankroll piece of that. And the bankroll piece really talks about two things to me. It's if I can go, yes or no. How hard I can go is the number we're going to assign to it. Like, are you like at a level 1 or a level 3 on your go meter? That's a really kind of an important thing to think through. So, and yeah, we'll get into next week. You know, should I stay? Should I go and when? And that's really kind of how I want to approach this entire subject. So let me go to the table and let's just talk through it with some bets here. I've got my craps table out, or my craps mat out anyway. And let's give you a few examples of ways, okay? And again, I won't roll dice today. We'll do that in the pressure cooker on Wednesday. But let's, for the sake of argument, say that our first thing we're going to do works, okay? I'm going to give you a couple of things that are simple things, okay? One might be a simple 2-unit bet, okay, on anything. And again, we're looking at a craps table, but this bet could easily be in the field. It could have been your don't pass. It could have been your pass line. It could have been a bet on red in roulette. It could have been a bet on even in roulette. It could have been a blackjack bet. It could have been a baccarat bet. Doesn't matter what this bet is, okay? It's 2 units. I'm using green because it looks good against the black. It doesn't matter what your unit size is. You can be betting reds. I don't really care. You can be betting whites on a bubble craps or an electronic blackjack machine. I don't care. It's unit size. If 2 units wins 2 units, which it does, okay, you're in this amazing spot where you've got your money back that you put at risk and you've got a little bit of a lockup, okay? That does require that you go out when you, with more than either table minimum or more than you're probably comfortable with. It requires a 2-unit spread to get started, but when it wins, your money's back and you can lock. This is an easy way to say, I've done it. I've got my money back and I've locked up profit and now I can make a decision. If you're only betting 1 unit, your first move is, I got some money back and I'm even, but I'm not up. I need that second win to make it happen. At this point, and again, I think this depends on bankroll, but what happens next? Do you take your win and give it a stack and say, just parlay the damn thing? If you get that second win in a row, now you have your money back and you're up 2 units, which is a pretty powerful place to be. Okay, and again, this could be any game. The point is deciding on your first bet and how many wins do you need to achieve the first goal of getting money back and locking something up. If you go out a little higher You can do it in one outcome. You can win one hand in blackjack or one hand in baccarat and be in and home. The problem is if you lose that first bet and you go back out again with a 2-unit bet and that wins, you're in the same spot you were before, or as the other guy would have been. You're now even. You got your money back for this, plus your money back for the first one. Now you're in a reset position. Start again. Hope that makes sense. So regardless of what your first move is, your first move is designed, your opening move, designed to either just get the money back or get it back with some love. Let's do some craps examples. That's an easy 1-to-1 bet example. And you can do it in any number of ways, right? You can take a $25 win as fives, and you can go up a little dinky bit and pull this back and still require a second win to get it right. But the second win, now your money's back and you've got extra, a little bit of excess. Okay, let's look at craps. Because Dylan's here, we'll do one of his. Okay, Dylan loves the the skill 66. It was kind of named after him, right? So there's going to be 3, 3, 3, and 3, and cap there, and we'll cap the 6. Now the skill 66 works like this. It's 3 units on each bet. Okay, it's 15, 18, 18, and 15. $66. Check this out. What happens when you win? It wins $21. Okay, you add $1 from your rack, make it 22. $67 investment. Okay, everything gets pressed by 1 unit. You've seen this probably a million times, right? Here we go. We're pressed up by 1. First unit, your first win, gets you kind of on base. The second win, which is a $28 win, is the one where you start thinking about your decisions. Now watch. If I put this back down to $66, which means we're back home again, I would have 28, 30, 40, $50 back in my rack. Actually, there's 67, right? Right, 25. Is that right? Is that too many? No, I'm right. 45, 50, right? And a couple of bucks excess, which is the dollar you put in. So you got a little bit of profit. You've got your money back, right? You've got $5 in profit, effectively. And now you have a decision to make. My opening move got me my money back. The $5 I really don't care about. But the opening move got my money back. It did its job. If you're in this, that's where I knew I had an extra buck somewhere out here. There it is. Okay. Now we're right. Wow. Okay. The opening move gets back your money. The next question is, what happens here? Because you can stop right here. You can take all this money back, right? What I started with can come back to your rack, and you can say, I've made $50. If I'm doing this move, and I trust this move, and it works on every single person around that table, that's $50, $50, $50, $50. I don't have to keep playing. I don't have to keep playing. However, if you're making that move for the reason that you want to keep playing, and I'm sorry, I didn't take enough money back to my rack. That's why I was messed up. If you're making this move for the reason that you want to keep playing, you can leave the bets up and play a little bit. This is the decision we're talking about. If the move works, you get your money back, you have a little bit of profit, and you can keep on rolling. If the move works, you can get your money back and you can lock up your profit and say, I'm done for that shooter. This decision largely gets made based on where your bankroll is. If you're going to just blindly do this, play what's left over every single time, you're going to tie when the sevens come early, right? You're going to be tying an awful lot of times versus locking up or versus going in. What's the decision? Depends on your bankroll. If I bought them for $500 and I'm down to 100, that's all I have left, and this move works, And now I've got, of course, my 167 over here, right? I can do this again, right? What you might think about doing is stopping and locking up, getting yourself back to 150 in the rack and doing a reset. Letting the long roll go. You don't have to be on every single freaking roll. Get your money back with your 50 bucks and we'll do it again. Okay, we'll take this as nickels. We'll go back out. 3, 3, 3, and 3. And there's our dollar for later. If the move works again, we know what's going to happen. 21 gets pressed to 22. When it's all said and done, the profit is 50 bucks. And now I've got another little bit of money back in the rack, and I can reset myself. Okay? Your bankroll has an awful lot to say about this. If, on the other hand, I'm ahead, I've got my entire 1, 2, 3, 4, 500 bucks locked up in my rack, and I've got this out here, and the move works, guess what? I've got my 500, I lock up a $50 profit, I keep playing. The when or the I have permission to really depends on this if you're a conservative player. If you're here for a goal to win X dollars, let this dictate what you do with this. Again, if you're down, can you afford? And what I mean, not financially, can you afford mentally, or can your bankroll withstand, you going all in here and letting this be the thing that drives the day? I'll give you another example. It's another easy one. This is the one I was giving earlier. If I do the duck and cover move, which I need to get Dice Data to run duck and cover for me one of these days. But here's duck and cover. This one here is a great decision point for you. Watch this one. You're out for 110. Okay? One of these things wins 35 bucks. And we pull down a number, and it looks like 10. Another number hits for 35 bucks. We pull another number down, and it looks like 10. Now, out of 110, in 2 rolls, I've got back 100. I'm effectively even. Effectively even. This is an interesting place to be. Why? Because you have 2 bets that you've regressed down, which is the reason why your move worked. Your move worked because you have 2 bets that you regressed, now you have 100 bucks. You're out of the hand, you're even, you can make this great decision. And the decision is, do I stay right here with $30 bets on the 6 and 8? They're already kind of pressed. If you look at your spread here, these bets are already up pretty high, which is fantastic because the next 6 that comes in at 35, right? You have all these choices you can make. You can lock up, there's your 110, and lock a quarter. You can drop $1, press them both, right? By $18 each, go to $48 on each 6 and 8, right? You could just press the one that came, take 5 back. You have all the options with the big 6 and 8 sitting there. However, if I'm behind, if my bankroll is looking ugly right now, let's say I'm down 100 bucks. Well, maybe that doesn't make the most sense. If I'm down 100 bucks, I'd like to get closer to breaking even. So what I would probably do is take these both down and say, place them both for 12. I'll put it here in the middle. I'm going to take it down in a minute. We place them both for 12. Now I've got my 110 back and I've locked in an extra quarter for later, right? If I'm down, let's say I'm down 220. I've got a quarter towards it, the rebuild, and I can play a little bit of 44 inside, okay? Or I can yank all of it down and take 20, 50, and take 70 bucks back to the rack and say, well, I'll sit this one out. I'm down 220. I got back 70. When the shooter sevens out, we'll go back and we'll do it again. Same move. Take our 35, come down to 10, take 35, come down to 10, take these 2 down, make them look like $12 each, and now I've got my 110, and I've got 75 85, 95 locked up. And I'm building back slowly until my bankroll is in a good enough spot that I can really hit the gas with it. And then say, yes, I'm going to stay out here and play. Or again, pull it all down and there's 125, 140 in the rack after doing it twice. And the next time I do this, it'll bring another $70 home. I'll be at 210, which means I've recovered my loss, right? If the move works, it can either set you up to keep playing. It can set you up to lock up a little bit of profit, a quarter. It can set you up to kind of stepstone through and regain where your losses were. As long as you can win 3 before you lose 1. That's kind of the key here, right? Win 3 before you lose 1. You'll be in good shape to do that. But again, your bankroll, right, has the decision. If I bought them for 5 and I got 3, I'm probably doing this until I get right. And when I get right, then I'll come out and I'll maybe stay in one. There's nothing to preclude you on a good roll from burning 1 quarter on the $12 6 and 8, right? You can take part of this, play a little bit, or grab a 4 and 10 for $10 each. Whatever you feel like doing, take a little bit of this to play, to catch a roll, but I wouldn't invest all of this up in here while I'm in rebuild mode. When I'm in rebuild mode, I'm playing pretty small. I'm locking things up. I'm watching rolls go by, and I don't care because I'm trying to get right. Again, this isn't talking about what system you want to do this, right? I'm not advocating for that way to play. I'm not advocating for a ladder. I'm not advocating for a pure regression up and pull. Whatever move you like to do, whether it's a duck and cover like that, whether it's a skill 66, whether it's a 3-leg or a 3-unit ladder, right? Where you start with 3, you win 3, you come down, you're at 2, you win 2, and you come down, and you win that last one. If you do something like this, a little reverse ladder, okay, your 2 units becomes 7. That's enough money to either take 7 more cracks at it or start it at a higher level, go to 4 and do it again, right? Or lock and leave. Up to you. But your bankroll, I think, decides that. I think your bankroll, how close you are to your goal, decides everything, okay? If you want to switch out of what you're doing, if you're on the horseman, which is a 2-unit don't pass and 3 come bets, and the 3 come bets all get set, okay? If it's your very first shooter and a come bet wins and a come bet wins, you're effectively out. You've got 5 units at risk, you got 4 units back, right? Hopefully you're going to win one of these 2 bets, right? You can take one of those units that you just won, grab a couple numbers. Ease into the next part of the roll. If you catch a couple of wins in here, ease into it. If you're not catching these wins, it's because you're winning down here. So to go to Joe's specific question, strategies like this that have transitions built in, take the transition, right? You can take advantage of a good roll by taking one of those 1 units and taking $25 and going, maybe it's the 5 and the 9 for 10 each while you have your 6 in play. And if the 6 happens to come down and win, right, grab the 6 and 8 with the wins. And now you're out of the hand. You got your money all the way back, still have a don't pass, you're still playing across. But it's all about where's your bankroll. I think Skill nailed it. It's where's your bankroll at the time. I think it's imperative that we try and build what I call these opening moves that are designed to get the money back and lock a little bit up at the same time. And that's what I love about duck and cover. 2 rolls, my money's back and I've got lock. The skill 66 in 2 rolls, I have money back and I can lock $50 every single time it works, right? If you're doing a regression, right, the first hit, you're locked. Money back, locked profit. If you're doing a ladder, the minute the ladder hits, the minute you get if you're doing a ladder parlay or a straight ladder, right? If I lose 1, go out with 2, lose 2, go out with 3, and 3 hits, right? I can pay my 3 actually from my losses, right? I'm even now. When I go down, right, my next hit puts me up in profit. I can restart the ladder, or I can lock and load, lock and walk away. Or I can start the ladder again, but with a 2-unit base because I've got profit. Your choice on how to play that next round. All right. Let's go back up here and look at my pretty face. There we go. All right. Hope that all kind of resonates and makes a little bit of sense. I think that the key takeaway for me is this, and I think it's what Skills started us with this morning, which is bankroll. Bankroll decides everything, right? If you're in an upside down position, you probably should make the move that gets your money back and a little bit of profit and stop playing and do it, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. In craps, that's easy to visualize. In roulette, it's easy to visualize. You get burned in roulette. You have a move that, you put $100 out there to win 23 or 20, whatever. Do it 4 times, get your money back. Then we hit the switch. And the switch is, did I hit my goal? If I hit my goal, tap out. If I'm not yet at my goal, do it again. If my goal is to get my money back, take a little bit of profit, and then still keep playing, find ways to make that funded by what just happened. And I hope that I'm making good sense there, because these decisions are critical for people, right? If you want to be aggressive, set yourself up for it, but do not be aggressive, A, right out of your rack, and B, when you're behind. I don't think the way to catch up from being down is to be more aggressive. And I know, like, the people who claim or who preach this idea of got to win, you got to bring enough money for 10 shooters because the 10th shooter might be the one. If you're bringing $1,000 and you lose 900 along the way, the 10th shooter, you're praying to God, wins you $1,000, feels to me like a losing formula. Like you're asking way too much of one event to really bring everything back. The home run is not the recovery. The plan is the recovery. And if the plan works and you still want to keep playing because you want to and want to hit that home run, use the excess for it. So hope that all makes some sense, right? Ken says this: learn to play on small excess after you reach your goal. Perfectly said. That's what I was giving the example of there, right? If I got my $100 back, I bring those 6 and 8s down, I can play a $12 6 and 8 all day, right? With a locked profit over here in the rack. That's such an important piece, right? Piece. Let's see. Dice Data says, what I prefer, the start small and build or start large and regress. Me personally, I like to start bigger and regress. And the reason for that, to me, is simple. If I start small and our move doesn't work, we're completely out, right? So you're putting 100% at risk for 100% of the time. As an example, let me go over here again. As an example, let's just take 110 as the example because it's easy. Okay, 110 the example. Yeah, it doesn't matter. If I'm here at 110 inside, okay, and I'm just going to work this until I'm even. Let's just say it's even the same bet, right? I got to get a hit. I got to get a hit, right? And at this first one, 35 is back. I got 70 back. I'm almost out of the hand in 3 rolls, right? Or if you're going to be like the press guys, right? And let's say that you hit a 9 for $35, right? A lot of people will just go press it and take the 10. If the 5 hits for $35, they'll take the 10 and press it. This is a common way to play. If the 8 comes for $35, they'll take 5 and press it. And they'll say the 4th hit is the 1. Let's say the 4th hit, unfortunately, is the 6. Let's say it's the 8. Let's say it's the 8. And the 8 pays 75 for 5. And then you can come back down again, right? That person, although they have their $110 back and they have 50, 65 in profit and 110 out here, so they're actually 110 plus 65, they're 175 up in this case. You had full risk for the entire 3 or 4 rolls. There was never a point where you were safe, right? The way that I do this with a regression plan is a little different because you get paid 35 on the first one and you come down, my risk is 50%. On one hit, half the money's back. So God forbid we get a 7 here. I've got $50. My next time out, when I go 110, the second 110 only cost me an extra $60. Granted, I would have lost the 60, so I'm technically out here for 170, 110 plus the 60 I lost, but it's better than being out here for 220. And if the move works here, again, let's just put ourselves in that spot. Let's say that we are down that $60. And this time the move works. Okay? We get 35 and we're down to 10. And we get, oh, I'm sorry, that should have been here. And we get another one that's 35 and we're down to 10. What I would likely do is pull all this down. Maybe only play a 6 and 8 just to stay in the game, right? Like so. Now in this case, remember I was down 60. So there's my 50. There's 100. If I break this 25 into fives, there's my 110. There's my 60, and I've got a little bit of profit here, and I'm playing. The move can work and recover a loss pretty quick, and your profit's less. The profit would have been 100. Now it's 45 or whatever. But the recovery when you regress is built into the regression. The regression is your recovery because you can go back out tiny and keep playing and lock. If you're playing just going for it from whatever level it's going to be, you're going to lose until the roll happens. You might go down 64, 64, 64, 64, and then win 150. But you're always at risk the whole time. I don't like being at risk for my entire bankroll the entire time. So for me, again, whether I'm playing blackjack, right? And if I'm playing blackjack at $50, or more realistically, I'm playing blackjack at $10 at my local little casino, and I win my 10, next bet's 5. And if the next bet wins, I'll press it up, and I'll take the next one, and I'll press it up, and I'll work it like that. Regressing, to me, gives you some power. It gives you some choice. It gives you a lock. It gives you recovery. It's all built into it. So that's, again, personal for me. That's the answer to your question there. All right, what do we have here? Ken says, learn to play with Stearns. To play or press, scoot the move with small X. I like that little saying right there, Ken. It's cool. All right, what else do we have here in chat? Looking through some of this stuff. Waylon's way getting out of the hand is quick is the key. Most strategies take 3 to 4. It's too much of a grind. You can't. 3 or 4 is too much. I agree. 3 or 4 hits to get out of a hand is you're asking way too much, especially in craps of a shooter. You're asking way too much. The other games play a little bit differently, but in craps, 3 or 4 hits is way too big to get out. Roulette's another good example. If you got roulette, you're playing 2 dozens and 2 streets. You got, maybe 4 units out there, but a win only gets you 1. You got to win 4 freaking times to get out. It's too much. You're asking too much. You're asking the wheel and the ball to do way too much work back to back to back to make it happen. It's just a lot. So, all right. I think that's everything. I think I covered most of the questions I see out there. And yeah, time for that work meeting. So let's get back over here to moi. Let's see. Hello. All right. We covered the questions. I'll leave you with this. Remember to stay in focus, whatever that is for you, right? Follow your plan. If your plan is a regression, if your plan is a ladder, if your plan is a growth plan, either way, follow the plan. Observe the conditions. And I mean, I'm not saying follow the trends. I'm saying look at your freaking rack. Observe the conditions. What does my bankroll tell me I have? What does my bankroll allow me to do? How much do I need to hang on to get things reset and rocking and rolling, right? Control your emotions if you're up or down. Understand the game you're playing, the odds, and above all, stay disciplined. That's the biggest advice we can give y'all, okay? Yeah, beyond that, keep it simple. right? Don't be overly complex. The ways that I play are very, very simple, because the more complex it gets, the harder it is to execute, the more I'm asking of the table. It's just a no-go. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. The idiots admire the complexity. Geniuses admire simplicity. And yes, I think, Dan, I will see you hopefully on Wednesday. And I'm sorry, Dr. S, that I missed you today. I could not get up that early. I tried, and I hit the snooze, and I hit the off button by mistake, and I was out until about 9. So sorry that I missed you, but it was good to see you in person. All right, everybody else, love you all. God bless. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll do a little deeper dive on some of this, and Wednesday we'll do some rollouts. See you then. Bye.